Hello, my name is Larry Reed. I'm out here in Texas, and I'm a singer-songwriter, musician, full-time performer, and a recording engineer and electronics expert. I'm working with a Midjay Pro, and I've gotten a lot of phone calls lately. How do I program my Midjay Pro to work with my GR55 synthesizer? Well, first you have to make sure that your GR55 synthesizer is set correctly, and I will get into that later in the video. Once you've done that, and you send that signal out via MIDI cable, you put it into the MIDI in the back of this, then you have to set the machine properly so it knows what's going on. Make sure everything from this is going into channel 1 on the MIDI. When you do that, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the menu. That's this button right here. It says menu. You're going to want to select that. Then you're going to want to select the one up here. There's all these different parameters. Select MIDI. What I select is keyboard, style, and voice. That's the one I like the most. That's my favorite setting. In the bottom far corner here, you're going to see where it says USB MIDI and MIDI port. Hit MIDI port. Now, you want to go in here. Don't put it on MIDI 1 play or MIDI 2 play. You want to put it on style and voice. That's the input. Don't worry about the output because we're not worrying about that. We want style and voice because you want to control the style and the voice. Once you've done that, you want to hit this button here that says exit. And you hit exit and it takes you back out. You'd hit it twice, now you're back out of the screen. 3 times you're back to where you were. What we're at, the screen we're at right now is styles. This is the one where you control it with your instrument. Once you've got to this screen, you go back over here, and I know this sounds crazy, but you have to hit this button another time called exit. And you hit it another time, and you're going to see now we've got a completely different screen here. When we've done that, if you notice the word pianist is lit up. You have to have it on pianist because basically it thinks of you as a pianist. And if you don't have it there, you're not going to be able to make the chord changes you want. Otherwise, you're only going to get one note. One. That's all you're going to get. So those people that wondering why I only get one note, it's because that button isn't on. So that button needs to be on. Then you need to go below it where it says edit. And you hit this button. Once you do that, you're going to open another screen just on this side only. And it says pianist and bassist. You hit this. The first thing you're probably going to notice is this is over here. You're going to want to put this on auto, and the reason you're going to want to put this on auto is so that it requires, takes 3 notes to make a chord change. 3 notes to make a chord change. That's very important because otherwise every single note you strike on the guitar from here on out is going to create a chord change. And you don't want that because it's going to be very confusing. It's going to sound horrible, absolutely horrible. Once you've done that, you back out again and again, to where you're back to the main screen here. Then you go back down here where it says player and you hit player 2, which will take you back to the main screen here. When you've done that, you hit the button save and it brings up this. Factory startup, custom startup, or cancel. You want to save this as a custom startup. The minute you do that, now the machine remembers all the settings that you just put in. And by doing so, now you can control the machine using your GR55. This is for the Midjay Pro. I'll be doing it on other machines from KETRON so that you guys will understand how to make it work. Now, when you go back to the style section by pushing the style button, you can select a beat and you get your guitar, which I'm going to do here. And the first thing you're going to notice is that all your notes, when you bring this up, because this is the slider for the lead, which is your instrument, you notice I'm getting all the notes. All right now we've got just 8-beat 1, which is basically the first one. And if I do G, it's going to stay on that one note until I change it again. C. See how it works? E minor. And then D. Now, the reason it's switching is because I'm hitting 3 notes. If I was going to go back to G, I want to show you why. If I want to hit just single notes, if you wanted to play like a lead, you could go. Now, the reason I'm able to do that, and it hasn't switched chords, is because I'm only playing single notes. Remember, it takes 3 notes to make a chord change the way it's programmed right now, which is perfect for guitar. I want to stress again that in order to make a chord change, now that you've got your guitar plugged into this, it requires 3 notes. If you don't play 3 notes at the same exact time, the chord will remain the same, which is a good thing. You don't want it to change with every single note that you play. Otherwise, it'll drive you and the machine crazy. We're going to switch machines here. We're going to go over to the GR55, and I'm going to show how that all works. So I'm going to move this one out of the way, and we're going to come right back. Okay, well, we're going to talk about the GR55. There are many different versions out there of how to control this machine, but I'm focusing on the ones that I have. This is a GR55. I don't use the internal sounds in this, but a lot of people do. What I'm using this for is strictly a controller. As you notice, I got the MIDI out going over here, and I've got my GK guitar connected over here, plugged into this. Now, if you press these 2 buttons together, 2 and 3, you will bring up the strings for the guitar. If you haven't already done so, this allows you to tune. If you see, one's up, then one's high. Now it's too low. And the G is a little high, so we're going to put it right where it is. This is critical, and I'm just playing the piano inside the KETRON at the moment using this. So what you're hearing is the piano, not the guitar. The guitar right now isn't even on. But it's critical that this thing has to be in tune with your guitar, and your guitar has to be in tune with itself. In order to check that, you either have to go to the 12th fret and hit the string, and then hit it with a harmonic. They should all match. And then you hit the 12th fret as well, and it should show you E. This should happen on each string independently. But understand is if the guitar is not in tune with itself, if it's sending an E sharp or an E flat instead of a true E, the machine's going to get confused, and it's not going to give you the note you want, and you're going to get a whole lot of ghost notes. Don't even want to go into that area. And you'll understand what ghost notes are later on the road. But in order now to program this, the way I have it programmed to operate this, I'm going to show you how that's done. We're going to go into the editing mode of this thing, and here's how you do it. See this button here where it says enter? You hit edit right over here in the far upper right. You hit enter, and you'll notice that it brings up a screen. Now, if it's not already on this screen, this is a page screen. You can hit all these different ones, and you want to go to the one that says system. And that's where you want to be, right there, system. Once you get to GK settings and you're in the system mode, then you're going to want to push enter. The first thing the screen is going to come up is pickup mode. Okay, you're in pickup mode. That stands for PU, pickup. The pickup type on my particular guitar, because this happens to be a Godin, is a Piezo-R because it's made by RMC. The scale is Strat, and you can do this by just using this button over here to push up and down the different ones. You want to leave the phase at normal, you want to leave the pickup direction normal, you want to put the S21 switch normal, and you want to leave the normal gain at 10. Then you go to the next page. You want to make sure that all your strings are set at 10 millimeters. This is the height from the string to the actual pickup. You want to go to the next page, sensitivity. This is probably the most crucial thing in this machine. If your sensitivity is set too high on this machine, you will get all kinds of missed triggers, ghost notes. You won't be able to control the KETRON in any way, shape, or form. Almost everyone has these things set way too high. As you can see, my favorites, these are my own settings. Now, they work for my Godin guitar. I've got my first through my fourth set at 20, and my fifth and sixth, because they're larger strings and they're louder, I've got them set at 15. And you can check this, as you can see. Because I tend to strum pretty hard, as you can see. That's me. Now, and then the next page is velocity information. Velocity, I actually want to set it for 5. The play feel you want at 4. And the velocity cut at 4. Those seems to work best for me, and it's what I've found gives me the least amount of problems. Then when you want to go to the next one is nuance dynamics. Those should both be set to 5. Once you've done all this, you exit, you hit this button, and it's already automatically saved. I saved it as GK set 1. Now that we've totally backed out by pushing buttons 2 and 3 on your floor, you're going to be back to the tuner. And you want to keep checking this in between songs to make sure that the guitar is totally dead on. So now this is where the fun comes in. You go to Style, and then you go next to it, there's a button called Voice. You want to hit Voice. When you do, you're going to open this whole thing here. What you see here in front of you is all the different things that you can play with the guitar, and this is the slider that controls it. It's called Lead, L-E-A-D. This is what will give you the piano, or if I want to, I can switch to a mark. Wow, cool, huh? Or maybe I want a funky DX. Or I want piano and strings. Very cool. And you'll notice that you can change this by also, you can use this data value switch, and you can go to more. There's more. There's honky-tonk pianos. Or you may want an FM layer. And you've got more. There's the third page. You've got harpsichords. This is where the fun comes in, because now that you've got your machine set up, now you can sit here and select all kinds of things. You want organ? We got rock organs. Have the advantage of working with these organs. You can take some pretty cool stuff. Okay, now you can take the organ by using the transposer. You can put it anywhere you want. But let's say we want it back down. You just dial it back down again, you know. Now you can save all of these parameters anytime you wish. But you've got guitars, you've got brass. You maybe want to be a brass section just for the fun of it. Hit brass section. But maybe that's too low for you. Go to the transposer again. Take it up to 12, and then you want to save it. Very cool. That's some of the craziest stuff that you can do with this thing. Is just unbelievable. You can sing it. You can do regular instruments one at a time. You can have the brass. You can have a trumpet, a trombone. You can have a sax. You can have a flute. You can have choirs. Maybe you wanted them to say ah. Very, very, very cool. There's millions of possible combinations here. Pads. This is one of my favorites, the Fantasy. And maybe I don't want it that high. Maybe I want this all the way back down at standard. You can also go down, too. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. We're going to get into a lot more of this as time goes on, but I just wanted to give you some of the basics here. And I'm going to keep doing one of these if I can as much as often as possible so that you guys can learn how to use the most out of this machine, because this machine is an incredible piece of equipment, and I'm only just scratched the surface here. But at least now you know how to hook your GR55 to the machine and get the machine to do it the way you want. So when you bring it up, next time you start up the machine, if you saved it as a custom startup, you're going to be okay. If you didn't save it properly, it's going to revert back to where it was. That's one of the things about the machine. It's just an inherent thing. It has to be saved.